Hi everyone, it's Quick Breads Week. I'm going to be demonstrating banana muffins. I have already greased my muffin tins with some vegetable oil, and we're using the muffin method, which essentially is mixing the dry ingredients in one bowl and then mixing the wet ingredients in another, and then the final step is to combine them. So in this recipe, I'm using 1 3/4 cup of flour, and the kind of flour that I chose to use today is the whole wheat pastry flour, which has a bit more fiber. You can also use all-purpose flour or half whole wheat flour and half all-purpose flour. So we're going to put that in. And it's not a very sweet muffin recipe. It has 1/3 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, so we're using this chemical leavener. And the thing about baking powder is that what we typically purchase at retail is the double action baking powder, which means that it will start to produce carbon dioxide once it is moistened, and then again as it is heated in the oven. And so this is the reason why with quick breads you want to work with the batter quickly, so that once you moisten your dry ingredients, you don't want to lose too much carbon dioxide. And so you may notice that's why a lot of the recipes will start with preheating the oven and greasing the pan so that everything is ready to go. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and you may wonder why we add salt to a quick bread recipe, which is typically sweet, and that's because salt will bring out and enhance the flavor of the sweetness. We're going to combine that, stir that together, and then make a well in the center of your flour mixture, and then set that aside. And then now we start to combine the wet ingredients. It includes 1 egg that has been beaten, half a cup of milk, and I have 2% milk here. And if you have other kinds of milks, such as soy milk, almond milk, that can work as well. 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and I'm using canola oil. And my family loves banana muffins, and so whenever you have ripe bananas, you can save some for muffins. And I have here 2 mashed bananas, which is about 3/4 of a cup. Blend that all in. And then I want to combine this really well because I want to minimize the amount of mixing once I put it into the dry flour mixture. So I'm going to use a whisk and blend that in very well. And don't worry if you have small pieces of bananas in it. I personally like that when I'm eating a muffin. All right, so now we have the dry ingredients in one bowl and the wet in the other. And the final step for the muffin method is to combine both of these. And you can stir the wet into the dry ingredients. And once you do that, you want to work fairly quickly to combine the two. All of that goes in. And for this recipe, we have the option of adding some chopped nuts. So I have half a cup of chopped walnuts. You certainly can use pecans if you prefer that. And then there was a special request from my videographer to add a little bit of chocolate chips. So I have a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips, and that can go in as well. And so we don't want to over stir this mixture. We want to stir until the flour has been moistened. Over mixing will develop the gluten, and then you'll end up with a tough muffin. And over stirring will also result in peaks once your muffins are baked, and you don't want to have tunnels in your muffins. And so we just want to combine the dry and the wet ingredients. Until all traces of flour has disappeared. Okay, so this is considered a drop batter, And you can either use a spoon to put the batter into your muffin tins. I have here a scooper. I find that it works really well. So it's about 2/3 that you want to fill each muffin cup so that it has room to rise. And if you happen to see any traces of flour as you're doing the scooping, you can just moisten that and prevent overmixing. So my muffins are now ready to go into the oven, which has been preheated at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will bake for 18 to 20 minutes. So the muffins are now out of the oven. They're golden brown, and you can test for doneness using a tester or a toothpick. Insert it into the middle and it should come out clean. They're going to sit and cool on the wire rack for 5 minutes, and then we can turn them out.